Hello, I'm Claire Jewitt, and this is the Diary of an Orange Cat. The diary entries of a thoughtful, slightly neurotic ginger cat living in a small harbour community in New Zealand. If you've been following along, you'll know that Weasley's world has been getting increasingly complicated. Between neighbourhood politics, mindfulness meetings, and self-improvement workshops, things have taken a slightly more ambitious turn. This episode was originally written during the early days of the 2020 COVID lockdown. But looking back now, some of it feels oddly familiar, as Weasley's campaign for Supreme Ruler of Cats gathers momentum. And now, Weasley's diary. I don't usually pay much attention to what humans are doing, but lately I've started to feel that perhaps I should. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of confusion, and from what I can see, very little in the way of leadership, which is surprising, because in times like these, what's really needed is calm, clear thinking, and a certain natural authority. Someone should probably take charge. Someone orange, perhaps? Wednesday, 1st of April, 2020. Something funny is going on in the harbour. Mummy has been working from home for a couple of weeks now. In fact, she's hardly left the house. I'm wondering if everyone is doing this because there aren't as many cars driving around the streets of Diamond Harbour. And the other day, when I popped over to On the Spot, there was a queue of people lining up to go inside. But it wasn't a normal queue because everyone was standing a metre or so apart. Maybe they're all playing some sort of game. Humans can be extremely odd sometimes. I decided there was no point in asking Ron, so I went to find Serafina to see if she knew what it was all about. Humans are all in lockdown because of a deadly virus that's spread between humans via small droplets produced during coughing, sneezing or talking, she said knowledgeably. COVID-19 is a coronavirus that has been declared a global pandemic. Surely you've read about this or seen it on the television? Come to think of it, I can remember seeing something, but I hadn't taken much notice. I asked her if she thought there was anything we could do to help prevent it. Serafina puffed herself up. Well, the recommended measures to prevent infection include frequent hand washing, maintaining physical distance from others, and staying at home. Some recommend the wearing of masks, although there are differing opinions as to the effectiveness. Without hanging around to hear what Serafina had to say about masks, I hurried home to make sure Mummy was okay. What if I gave her this deadly virus just like I'd caused her to get multiple sclerosis after I'd tripped her up when I was a kitten? I arrived home and jumped in the open window, shocked to find that the television was on but Mummy wasn't there. I checked the house to make sure that she wasn't already dead, but since her walking frame was gone, I concluded that she'd gone to On the Spot to play that silly standing outside game. Feeling exhausted, I sat on the couch and gazed dumbly at the television. A man, speaking with an American accent, was talking about the coronavirus pandemic, and the thought struck me that he had a slightly orange look to him. His hair was almost the same colour as my fur. Perhaps he had the virus and this was a symptom. Did cats get the virus, I wondered? What if I'd already passed it on? But surely I was doing everything that Serafina had said helped prevent it, staying at home, maintaining my distance, keeping myself clean. All of this was second nature to a cat. Hopefully Ron, Squeak and Serafina would be round later and we could discuss our pandemic plan at the mindfulness meeting. I must have dozed off because when I looked out the window next, I saw that not only were Ron, Squeak and Serafina gathered in the garden to discuss the coronavirus crisis, but hundreds of neighbourhood cats, some of which I'm sure I've never seen before. Shaking off my sleepiness, I rushed outside. I realised at once what must have happened. The election for the Supreme Ruler of Cats was drawing close, and I wasn't about to lose the position I'd fought so hard for. I would soon have these minions eating out of my paw with my powerful personality and decisiveness. I quickly checked the mirror. I'd been using Hosking's catatonic fur formula for a month now, and my coat was definitely taking on that slightly dishevelled Hugh Grant look that I'd been hoping to replicate. Fluffing up my fur, I smiled at my reflection, then jogged onto the deck and raised my paw to quiet the babble as more cats joined the throng. A very attractive little female tabby sat in the front row, mewing adoringly. "Do you have a plan to contain the coronavirus amongst cats?" she asked. She'd probably been up since daybreak to get a front row seat so that she could be close to me. I told her that I did have a plan. Of course I had a plan. It's going to be handled very, very well. I gave her a reassuring smile, then addressed my growing number of fans.
This virus that we're talking about, having, that a lot of experts think that the virus will go away with the heat. I've checked the weather forecast, and the rest of this month is going to be warm. It's going to be unseasonably warm. You see, I check these things, and I know it will miraculously go away. We're in great shape, though. I have done an incredible job, and that will continue. It's all going to disappear one day, like a miracle.
Someone in the crowd said, "In the name of Jesus, we thank you." Then the others all said, "We thank you." I decided to leave it at that for the day. In the following days, I was getting stopped in the street and asked for my opinion on the virus. A Persian called me outside the school one day.
I'm not surprised you're asking me.
I replied.
My uncle was a brilliant scholar. He taught at this school for a record number of years. He was the great super genius, Dr. John Walter Weasley IV. You probably heard of him.
The Persian looked incredulous. I didn't say as much, but...
I've never liked the Persian as a breed. They're a tough crowd. One day I might have to do something about them. We'll see.
But right now, I had more pressing matters to attend to. Addressing the Persian, I said,
"I like this stuff. I really get it. People are surprised that I understand it. Everyone asks me how I know so much about this. Maybe I have a natural ability. Maybe I should have been a teacher instead of being the supreme leader of cats."
2 weeks later, they were still saying that the virus hadn't gone away, but that was all fake news. I knew my opponents were attempting to create a diversion so that they could beat me to the Supreme Ruler of Cats title. I made sure I pointed this out in my next address.
Now my opponents are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus. It's all turning. They lost and they know it. Just think of it as their new hoax. 35,000 cats die each year of cat flu. Did any of you know that? 35,000. That's a lot of cats. And so far, we have lost no cats to coronavirus. That doesn't mean we won't, but we are totally prepared. You have to wonder why everyone is in hysteria mode. We have lost no cats, not one.
The applause was so deafening I had to end it there because it was making my ears hurt. I was so angry the following day when Serafina came up to see me to say that one cat in Waipapa Avenue had died from the virus. Surely that cat must have had an underlying condition or something. But then there were more deaths and I needed to be there to provide the leadership that these cats needed. Of course, I'd done my homework like I always do, and I found out that the virus started in Purau. Typical. I needed to show my followers that I at least was tackling the problem head on and doing something about those filthy cats from Purau, so I recommended they inject themselves with bleach. It was a warm, sunny day when I made my speech to my growing number of followers.
My fellow cats, I want to speak to you about my unprecedented response to the coronavirus outbreak that started in Purau, spread throughout Diamond Harbor, and is now a global pandemic. I am officially declaring a national emergency, stopping the spread of the Purau virus and providing assistance to all affected cats is my overriding goal. This will pass, though, and cats are going to be even stronger for it. I've decided to toughen the guidelines and ask cats everywhere to stay home, maintain social distancing, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 cats, avoid discretionary travel, and
I gave a cheeky wink to the cute tabby cat.
Keep yourselves clean.
"No change there, then," shouted someone from the crowd.
Not for us, maybe, but we're not like those Purau cats. You need to stay away from them. It won't be long before those Purau cats will be eating their owners. They're already eating the native birds. They will eat the people that they live with. Mark my words, they're killers. You need to stay away. It comes from Purau. I want to be accurate. Purau.
And I spat just to make my point. Then some jackass piped up that we didn't have enough testing kits and were risking a dangerous undercount of diagnosed cases. Why couldn't he see that?
I've done a fantastic job, particularly with the testing. I took it over, and now our tests are the greatest in the world. We are doing very well. I worked with the system we had, and in a short period of time, we're testing millions of cats. I'd rate my response at 10 out of 10. I think I've done a great job. Really, I do. The cases will be down to 0 in a week or so.
But a week later, the cases continued to climb. I feared my chances of holding on to my position as the supreme ruler of cats were fading away. At my next address, I said,
I'd love to open everything up by Easter. I'll tell you that right now. I'd love to lift the restrictions and have everything opened up and ready to go by Easter.
Then I ended with,
A great feline resurrection.
everybody loved this, of course. My campaign was going straight to the top and everyone knows it. My ratings are so high, higher than the Bachelorette or the Rugby World Cup games, and the numbers just continue to rise. Weasley is reaching too many cats, we must stop him, shouted one lunatic. The problem is that some of these cats are so stupid they think I've said things when I haven't, and then they bring it all up when there are millions of other cats watching. Why don't they act a little bit more positively? Maybe they can't hear properly. That's it. There must be something wrong with their hearing. Always trying to get me, getcha. That's why nobody trusts these stupid cats anymore. They should go and live in Purau. Easter came and went, and there were over 500,000 cases of the Purau virus and over 20,000 deaths. But surely there weren't 500,000 cats in Diamond Harbour. Why were all these cats sitting in my garden wanting me to put them all on ventilators? I didn't have nearly enough ventilators. I tried to chase them away, but it was like trying to herd humans. They were everywhere calling, Weasley, Weasley, Weasley. I held up my paws to try to get them to move away from me, but when I looked at my front paws, they seemed alarmingly smaller than usual, almost out of proportion to the rest of my body. I needed to get to the vet very urgently. Then I opened my eyes and Mummy was calling me from the kitchen. She was filling up my bowl and saying she'd got me something delicious from on the spot. I shook my head and opened my eyes wide in an effort to shake that peculiar dream away. Then I saw that Ron, Squeak and Seraphina were sitting in the garden ready for the mindfulness meeting to start. I felt rather sick and thankful that the orange guy on television had stopped speaking. Was this what happened to Seraphina when she fell asleep watching the television, I wondered. I probably should have gone out and asked her, but instead I went to the bedroom to find Mummy's dressing gown. I didn't particularly feel like eating, and I certainly didn't feel up to chairing the mindfulness meeting tonight. That was the orange guy. If you've ever wondered what might happen if absolute confidence met absolutely no understanding, well, Weasley might just have the answer. If you're enjoying The Diary of an Orange Cat, you can follow or subscribe wherever you usually get your podcasts. And if you feel like leaving a rating or review, it really does help others to find the podcast. If you'd like more of Weasley, the book The Woes of Weasley, The Diary of an Orange Cat, is available on Amazon. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next time with another entry from Weasley's diary.